November 26, 1966. The Beatles released an album that would spark one of the biggest conspiracy theories in music history. But it wasn't the music that people were talking about, it was the cover. A butcher smock, raw meat, decapitated baby dolls, and 4 smiling Beatles sitting in the middle of it all. Capitol Records immediately recalled every copy and pasted a new image over it. But the damage was done. People started asking questions. What were the Beatles trying to say? And more importantly, what else were they hiding in their album covers? Because once you start looking, you can't stop seeing the clues, symbols that don't belong, images that seem innocent until you know what they really mean, messages that bands have never fully explained, and theories that have survived for decades because maybe, just maybe, they're true. If this sounds interesting to you, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel, because what I'm about to show you will change the way you look at these albums forever. Let's start with the one everyone knows but nobody really understands. Abbey Road, August 8, 1969. The Beatles walk across a zebra crossing in London. Seems simple, right? 4 guys crossing a street, but look closer. Paul McCartney is barefoot. He's out of step with the others. The license plate on the Volkswagen Beetle in the background reads 28IF, and fans notice something else. Paul is holding a cigarette in his right hand, but Paul McCartney is left-handed. Unless it's not Paul McCartney, the theory exploded. Paul is dead. He died in a car crash in 1966 and was replaced by a look-alike named William Campbell. The Abbey Road cover was a funeral procession. John Lennon in white is the preacher. Ringo Starr in black is the undertaker. George Harrison in denim is the gravedigger. And Paul, barefoot and out of step, is the corpse, because in some cultures, corpses are buried without shoes. The license plate, 28IF. Paul would have been 28 if he had lived. The Volkswagen Beetle, it represents the accident that killed him. And if you play certain Beatles songs backward, you hear phrases like, "Turn me on, dead man," and "I buried Paul." The Beatles denied everything. Paul McCartney appeared on magazine covers trying to prove he was alive, but the theory never died. Because once people started looking for clues in Beatles album covers, they found them everywhere. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, a funeral scene with flowers spelling Paul and a hand raised above his head like a blessing over a corpse. Magical Mystery Tour, Paul wearing a black carnation while the others wear red. The White Album. Play Revolution 9 backward and you hear a car crash followed by screams. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe the Beatles knew exactly what they were doing. Maybe they planted the clues on purpose to create mystery, to keep people talking, to make their albums more than just music. Or maybe, just maybe, something really did happen in 1966 that they've been hiding ever since, but the Beatles aren't the only band with secrets hidden in their covers. Let's talk about Led Zeppelin 4, released in 1971 with no title, no band name, nothing but 4 mysterious symbols on the inner sleeve. Each symbol represented one member of the band. 3 of them were found in old occult books. But the 4th symbol, Jimmy Page's symbol, has never been fully explained. It looks like the word Zoso, but no one knows what it means. Page found it in an old manuscript and refused to tell anyone its origin. He said it was a personal sigil, a magical symbol with power. And knowing Jimmy Page's obsession with the occult, with Aleister Crowley, with black magic, people started wondering what kind of power that symbol held. Was it a spell, a summoning, a mark of protection, or a curse? The cover itself is strange. An old man carrying a bundle of sticks on his back, bent under the weight. The image came from a Victorian painting called The Hermit, a tarot card representing isolation and inner knowledge. On the back cover, another image, the Tower of Babel crumbling, a symbol of divine punishment and human ambition destroyed. Page insisted the cover had deep meaning, that it represented the balance between old and new, tradition and progress, light and darkness. But fans saw something else. They saw a band dabbling in forces they didn't fully understand. They saw occult symbols that shouldn't be on a rock album. And when tragedies started hitting Led Zeppelin, when John Bonham died, when Robert Plant's son died, when accidents kept happening, people looked back at that cover and wondered if Jimmy Page had opened a door that should have stayed closed. Then there's Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, 1973, one of the most recognizable album covers ever made. A prism splitting white light into a rainbow spectrum. Simple, beautiful. But what does it mean? On the surface, it represents the band's light shows, the way they use prisms and lights in their concerts. But look deeper. The prism is a symbol of perception, of how we see reality. White light enters as one thing and emerges as something completely different. Is it about identity, consciousness, the way society fragments the individual? And then there are the theories. Some people noticed that if you play Dark Side of the Moon while watching The Wizard of Oz, they sync up perfectly. The album starts when the MGM lion roars for the third time, and from there, the music matches the movie beat for beat. The song changes when Dorothy goes from black and white to color. The cash registers in Money Ring when the Wicked Witch appears. The heartbeat in Eclipse syncs with Dorothy's heart beating as she wakes up. Pink Floyd denied it. They said it was pure coincidence that they had never even thought about The Wizard of Oz while making the album. But fans don't believe them. The synchronization is too perfect, too deliberate, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Did Pink Floyd plan it? Did they create a hidden soundtrack to one of the most famous movies ever made and keep it secret for decades? Or is it just the human brain finding patterns where none exist? Either way, the theory made Dark Side of the Moon even more legendary. Now let's talk about Nirvana's Nevermind, 1991. A naked baby swimming underwater, reaching for a dollar bill on a fishhook. Kurt Cobain said the image represented innocence being corrupted by capitalism. A baby born pure, immediately lured by money. But the cover caused controversy from day one. Some stores refused to sell it, some countries banned it. And decades later, the baby in the photo, Spencer Eldon, sued the band, claiming the image was child exploitation. He argued that his parents never signed a release, that he never consented, and that the image had caused him lifelong trauma. Nirvana's estate fought back, saying the image was artistic, non-sexual, and protected by the First Amendment. The case was dismissed, but the controversy raised questions. What is art and what is exploitation? Where is the line? And did Kurt Cobain know this image would haunt everyone involved for the rest of their lives? Because that was Kurt's vision. Innocence corrupted, purity destroyed. A baby that can never escape the thing that defined him. And in a dark way, it mirrored Kurt's own life. A man who reached for success, grabbed it, and drowned in it. But the strangest album cover conspiracy might be the Beatles' Yesterday and Today, the Butcher cover, June 1966. The Beatles wearing white butcher smocks, covered in raw meat and pieces of dismembered baby dolls, smiling. Capitol Records printed 750,000 copies before realizing the image was too disturbing and recalling them all. They pasted a new image over it, a harmless photo of the Beatles sitting around a trunk. But the original image was already out there, and people wanted to know why. Why would the Beatles, the biggest band in the world, pose for something so grotesque? The official explanation was that it was a protest. The Beatles were angry that Capitol Records had been butchering their albums, re-editing songs, changing track orders, splitting UK albums into multiple US releases, so they created an image that said we are being butchered. But some fans saw something darker. They saw occult imagery, blood sacrifice, a message about fame and what it costs. And when the Paul is Dead conspiracy started just a few months later, people looked back at the Butcher cover and wondered if it was the first clue. Was Paul already dead when that photo was taken? Was the meat and the dolls a symbol of death and rebirth? Or was it just four young men making a shocking statement and not realizing how deep people would read into it? The truth is, we'll never know for sure. Bands rarely explain their album covers completely. They leave room for interpretation, for mystery, for theories to grow. Because mystery sells, mystery keeps people talking. Mystery turns an album into a legend. And whether these theories are true or not doesn't matter anymore. They've become part of rock history. They've changed the way we see these albums. They've made the covers as famous as the music, and maybe that was the point all along. Maybe these bands knew exactly what they were doing. Maybe they planted the clues, hid the symbols, created the mysteries, and let us spend decades trying to figure them out. Or maybe we're just seeing what we want to see. Finding patterns in chaos, creating stories to make sense of art we don't fully understand. Either way, one thing is certain. These album covers will never be just pictures again. They're puzzles, messages, secrets that might never be fully revealed. And that's what makes them legendary. If you enjoyed this video, turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. And check out my video on the occult secrets of Led Zeppelin, because trust me, the rabbit hole goes much deeper. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.